Hey everyone, welcome back. I am so glad that you're here because today I am going to show you two exercises that are really going to help you in your everyday activities. These exercises are game changers because you, I'm sure, daily have to lift things up from the floor and you have to carry things in your hand. For example, you may lift up your grandchild from the floor, or when you go grocery shopping, you may have a bag in each hand that you have to carry. These activities are something that we always do. And after I show you these two exercises, you're going to feel stronger and more confident when you have to lift and carry. So let's get started. All right. The first exercise that I'm going to show you is called a deadlift. Now, you may be envisioning the exercise of deadlift using a barbell, and it is definitely possible to do a deadlift using a barbell. But what I'd like to show you right now is a deadlift that I think will be much more accessible to you starting out, and it is still as beneficial. First of all, the deadlift exercise is an exercise that sounds just like its name. You're actually lifting something from the floor from a dead lift. So, for example, I have a kettlebell sitting right in front of me. If I were to bend down right now and lift that kettlebell, that would be an example of a deadlift. And that is exactly what we're going to do. The deadlift is a great exercise for your lower body. It really strengthens your legs as well as your glutes and your core. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do the deadlift right now using a kettlebell. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the kettlebell in front of you and make sure that it's situated between your feet. Then what you're going to do is you're going to grab the kettlebell with both hands. Now, notice I did something. When I went down to grab the kettlebell, I actually hinged at my waist and I bent my knees in order to get to the kettlebell. What I didn't do was I didn't bend over and arch my back to bend, right? So let me point out a couple of things to you because I want to make sure that you stay safe during this exercise. The deadlift is a safe exercise. You just want to make sure that you have proper form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hinge at the waist, which means I make sure that my hips are going to the back. Then I'm going to bend at my knees. I'm going to grab the kettlebell. Once I'm in this position, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press through the floor to bring the kettlebell up, and the move is almost exactly the opposite of how I got down. So let me show you that again. I have the kettlebell in my hand. I need to take it back to the floor. What I'm going to do is hinge at the waist, bend at the knees, drop the kettlebell. In order to get up, what I'm going to do is straighten the knees, bring my torso up, and that is how you do a kettlebell deadlift. Let me show you one more time. Hinge at the waist, bend the knees, put the kettlebell onto the ground, and then I stand up. That exercise is all about strengthening the lower body. I didn't use my lower back, but I used my legs and my glutes in order to pick this kettlebell up from the floor. Okay, listen, the kettlebell deadlift is a game changer because the more you do this exercise, the more comfortable you'll become lifting things up off the floor in your everyday activities. Also, as you do this exercise using a kettlebell, you may find that you're getting stronger. That means that you need to increase the weight of the kettlebell that you're using to do your deadlift so that you can continue to increase your strength. I tell you what, the deadlift really is one of my favorite moves because it allows you to get so strong, and the deadlift exercise, you mimic that move and again, some of your daily activities. Let me show you another way you can do the deadlift using two kettlebells as opposed to one kettlebell. So I have a kettlebell on each side. They both are the same weight. So make sure you have two kettlebells the same weight if you decide to do this exercise. And what you're going to do is the same thing that I showed you a moment ago. You're going to hinge at the waist. You're going to bend your knees and you're going to grab the kettlebells and stand up by pressing your feet into the floor, straightening your knees, and then bringing your torso back up. Now I have a weight in each hand. It's still a deadlift. Then what you're going to do is you're going to hinge at the waist, bend your knees, touch the kettlebells to the floor, and then do the same thing and come back up, right? And this is also a deadlift. This is a great exercise if you want to move from using one kettlebell to using two hands. Same exercise, same benefits. It's just a different version. Just a side note, some people get confused and they don't understand the difference between a deadlift and a squat. Let me briefly show you the difference between the two. So, with a deadlift, the weight is on the floor, and what you are doing is you are bending down to pick the weight up off of the floor. So again, the deadlift looks like this. Hinge at the waist, bend your knees, grab the weight and press through the floor and come up, and then return the weight to the floor. In a squat, what you're doing is you're picking the weight up off the floor, and for the squat, the weight remains in your hands as you squat down. So for a squat, it would look like this. Sure, I can hinge at the waist to pick up the weight from the floor, but that's not a squat. I actually just deadlifted to get the weight into my hand. Now, for a squat, I'm going to situate the weight in my hands. I'm going to get into position, and then I'm going to do my squat and press back up, and do my squat and press back up. So that is the squat, and that's the difference between a squat and a deadlift. All right, everyone, the next game-changing exercise is called the farmer's carry, or you may see it referred to as the farmer's walk. For this exercise, you're going to need two kettlebells, or you can use two dumbbells. You need one in each hand. And again, think about all of the times that you have to carry something in each hand, whether it's grocery shopping, or whether it's when you're traveling and you may have a suitcase in each hand. The farmer's carry is just a great exercise that strengthens your grip as well as your arms and just your overall body strength. So, in order to do the farmer's carry or the farmer's walk, you're going to make sure that you have two weights of equal size. Again, two dumbbells, two kettlebells. Right now, I'm going to show you the exercise using two kettlebells. And guess what? In order to get the kettlebells, you may have to do a deadlift in order to pick them up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hinge at the waist, bend my knees, and I'm going to grab the two kettlebells, press to the floor, and stand back up. Then what you're going to do is literally walk with these weights in your hand. Now, in this way, you can see why it's a great exercise for your hand grip, because you have to hold these weights as you walk. You can also see why it's a great exercise for your arms and your upper body, because they have to hold the weight. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to actually walk with these weights in your hand. So as you walk with a kettlebell or a dumbbell in each hand, you want to make sure that you maintain proper form as you're walking. You want to stay upright, and you don't want to lean to the front, and you don't want to pull back. You don't want to lean from one side to the other. You simply want to walk as normally as possible as you carry the weights. All right, everyone, I'm telling you, those two exercises, the kettlebell deadlift and the farmer's carry or the farmer's walk, those are two game changers. You will absolutely feel yourself getting stronger as you incorporate those two exercises into your routine. I absolutely love programming those two exercises for my clients and just watching them get stronger. How do you get stronger? You will have to challenge yourself. So, when you are doing the kettlebell deadlift, you might start with a 25-pound kettlebell, work your way up, keep going. The next thing you know, you'll be using a 50-pound kettlebell to do your deadlift. The next thing you know, you'll be using a 70-pound kettlebell to do your deadlift. Keep going and challenge yourself just like you would also with the farmer's carry. Grab a couple of dumbbells, grab a couple of kettlebells, and make sure you're challenging yourself. I recommend that once you have the weights in your hand, you walk for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds with the weights in your hands, right? Making sure that you're challenging yourself both in the duration that you're walking as well as the amount of weight that you're carrying. All right, everyone, that's it for now. And I really do hope you try these exercises because they are indeed game changers. And from one woman over 50 to another, challenge yourself. You are stronger than you think. All right, make sure you give this video a like and please, please, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.